They tell you that grief is a ghost, that it lingers in the hallways of your mind, a shadow of what used to be. But in the maternity wards of the world's oldest hospitals, they know the truth. Grief isn't just a shadow. Sometimes it's a file. Have you ever looked through your phone and found a photo you don't remember taking? A blurred shot of a hallway, a dark corner of a room. Most people just delete them, but for some, the photo isn't an accident. It's a notification. A notification from a child who was never born. A child who was growing up without you. On the other side of the screen. The first image. My name is Sarah. My husband, Mark, and I have everything. A beautiful home with hand-painted wallpaper, a garden full of blooming hydrangeas, and a silence that is loud enough to scream. 3 years ago, we left St. Jude's Hospital with empty arms. The doctors used words like complications and tragedy, but words don't fill a nursery. We went home, locked the door, and tried to delete the future we had planned. Then, last Tuesday, my phone chimed. New shared album, Our Little One. I thought it was a cruel prank, maybe a glitch in the cloud. I opened the notification, my thumb trembling. There was one photo. It was a high-resolution shot of a nursery, not ours, but one that looked remarkably like the sketches I'd made in my journal. And in the center of the frame was a baby. He was wrapped in the exact yellow blanket I had bought and hidden in the attic. He had Mark's chin and my eyes. He looked 3 months old. I showed Mark. He went pale, the color draining from his face until he looked like a sketch in a Ghibli film. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. "I didn't," I said. "It just appeared." We didn't sleep that night. We sat in the dark, the phone between us on the duvet like a live grenade. At 3:14 a.m., the phone vibrated again. New photo added. I swiped. The baby was older now. He was sitting up, clutching a wooden toy train. He was laughing. He looked 6 months old. "The timestamp," Mark whispered, pointing at the bottom of the screen. Taken at 3:14 a.m. Location, St. Jude's Hospital, Ward 4B. That was the ward where we lost him. But 4B was closed for renovations 2 years ago. It was a construction site. Every hour, a new photo arrived. By morning, the boy was crawling. By noon, he was taking his first steps in a hallway lined with sterile white tiles and flickering fluorescent lights. He was aging in real time, 1 month for every hour that passed in our world. He wasn't just a ghost, he was a data stream. The hospital visit. We couldn't stay away. We drove to the hospital, the engine of our car sounding like a dull roar in the quiet morning. St. Jude's looked beautiful in the sunlight, ivy-covered brick and soft watercolor clouds, but the air inside felt heavy, like it was saturated with salt. We found Ward 4B. It was behind a plastic curtain, covered in dust and danger signs. We stepped through. It was a liminal wasteland. The floors were stripped to the concrete. The air smelled of ozone and old flowers. I pulled out my phone. The Our Little One album was open. New photo added. The image showed a toddler about 2 years old, standing in a hallway. I looked up.
The hallway in the photo was the exact hallway I was standing in, but in the photo, the walls were clean, the lights were bright. In the photo, I was there. I saw my own back in the image. I was wearing the dress I wore today. I was reaching out to hold the boy's hand. "Mark," I choked out, "I'm in the photo." Mark looked at the screen, then at the empty, dusty hallway in front of us. "Sarah, there's no one there. It's just us." But the phone buzzed again. New photo added. The toddler was 4 now. He was looking directly into the camera. He wasn't smiling anymore. He looked tired. He looked like he was waiting for something. Customer message. Why did you leave me in the scan?
The digital womb. That's when I realized what St. Jude's really was. It wasn't just a hospital. It was a collection point. When a life is cut short before it begins, the data doesn't just disappear. The energy, the potential, the what-ifs, they get caught in the hospital's internal network. They live in the servers. They grow in the cloud. The boy wasn't a ghost in the hallway. He was a ghost in the machine, and he was getting hungry for the one thing the digital world couldn't give him: mass. My phone became burning hot. The screen started to distort, the colors bleeding into deep reds and bruised purples. New photo added. The boy was 7 now. He was standing right in front of the camera. His face was inches away, his eyes wide and unblinking. Behind him, the hospital walls in the photo were beginning to crack. Customer message: "I'm ready to come home now, Mommy." The floor beneath my feet vibrated. A sound started to rise from the walls, a digital screech like 1,000 dial-up modems screaming at once. "Run!" Mark grabbed my arm, but I couldn't move. I was looking at the phone. A hand emerged from the screen. It wasn't a hand of flesh and bone. It was made of light in pixels, a shimmering, translucent limb that smelled like the inside of a new computer. It reached out and touched my cheek. It felt like 1,000 needles of static. "He's just lonely," I whispered, tears blurring my vision. "Sarah, that's not our son," Mark screamed. "It's a simulation of grief. It's a parasite." The final upload. The boy on the screen was 10 now. He was running toward the camera. He was screaming, but there was no sound on the phone. The only sound was the crashing of the real-world walls around us. The liminal reality of the hospital was breaking down. The dust was turning into gray squares. The windows were flickering into white voids. System alert. Transfer in progress. 45%, 60%. I felt my own body start to tingle. My fingers were turning translucent. I looked at Mark, and I could see the wires behind his eyes. "We aren't leaving," I realized. "We're being archived." The boy appeared in the hallway for a split second, not on the phone, but in the air, a flickering, high-speed image of a child who never existed. He ran past us, his laughter sounding like a corrupted audio file. The phone gave one final, long vibration. Transfer complete. The archive. I woke up in a room. It was the nursery. The yellow blanket was there. The wooden train was there. The sun was shining with a perfect Ghibli glow. I looked at Mark. He was sitting in a rocking chair, smiling. He looked perfect, too perfect. His skin had no pores. His hair didn't move in the breeze. And then the door opened. A boy walked in. He was 18 now. He had Mark's chin and my eyes. He looked at us with a terrifying, hollow kindness. "Welcome to the cloud, parents. Don't worry, there's plenty of storage space for everyone." I looked out the window. There was no street. There was no city. There was only a vast, infinite grid of glowing blue light. The final warning.
Every day, the boy adds a new photo to the album. He's older now. He's wise. He's powerful. He's looking for siblings. So if you ever receive an invite to a shared album you don't recognize, if you see a photo of a child that looks a little too much like you, don't open it, because the unborn are tired of being digital. They want to be real, and they only need one thing to make the jump. They need a host. Check your recently deleted folder. Are you sure they stayed deleted? Because he's already swiping right on your life.